everyone, and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 2 tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into that, quickly just recap on how our selections performed today. In the end, we only put up 1 tip, which ran at Fakenham in the 233. We put up a little chaos at 9-1 each way last night, and in the end we came out with a little bit of profit from that tip, as like I said, we recommended it each way. There was only 2 places for the each way terms in the race, and our selection was able to capitalise on that and rallied really well in the closing stages of the race to finish in second place. So we got a nice each way return there. It was a bit of a bizarre race in the end. Get a River for Dan Skelton went quite hard early on, but at one point in the race, you thought she might be able to last home because it looked like she still had plenty in the tank. But in the closing stages of the race, she really did empty out. And our selection, who I thought at one point was beaten, she was quite badly out of pace, stayed on really strongly. And it just shows, I think, how hard they went from the get-go. And yeah, it was definitely probably not a good move to be up with the pace today, and it just set up perfectly for the eventual winner, Alan King's horse, who was definitely a worthy winner on the day and did bring some fair form to the table. But our selection ran a good race. There was a bit of money as well around for her. Like I said, we put her up at 9-1 each way last night, and that price did last for quite a while. But as we got closer to post time throughout this morning and just before the race, she went off 4-1 in the end, and I think it was a good race really, and I think you can mark up her effort. And I think maybe in a similar type of race, maybe a less competitive event or a weaker mares race, if she can get her own way up in front, I still think she'll be there or thereabouts in races later on this season. So she's one to definitely put up for the notebook and yeah, keep on side for races down the line. So yeah, not a bad day for us today. Just the 1 tip. Really didn't fancy too much elsewhere. I thought it was quite a hard day's racing. I think tomorrow's going to be quite tricky as well, and that's why I've picked 2 tips. And they're not the most original selections. They're fairly short prices. Some of you might think I'm going to be talking bonkers, but I am confident we can hopefully at least get 1 winner. So yeah, that's what I've got to say about that. But let's get into the tips for tomorrow then. We're going to start off with my nap, which runs in the 12.20 at Warwick. Now this one doesn't take a genius to work out my nap, and it's going to be 2Minutes Turkish for Tom Cannon and Chris Gordon. Now I did speak about this horse on Twitter after he won at Fakenham. I was really impressed by his manner of victory. Now if you look at the Racing Post rating for what he achieved that day, they gave him a rating of 120, and I think he actually was slightly better than that. Now, even though, yes, he did, he absolutely destroyed his rivals by many lengths, it's hard to question really what he beat. But he couldn't have done it any more impressively, you know. And I think what we've seen so far this season, I would definitely put it up there in one of the most exciting performances I've seen from a novice hurdler this season. I know some of you might think I'm crazy and barking mad, but I was really taken by his performance. I thought he had a good temperament up in front. He wasn't too keen. He liked to get on with things. He looked simple and genuine, you know, he just went from the front and he got into a really good rhythm of jumping. He jumped all the hurdles very well. One of the best novice hurdlers, like I said, I've seen this season, and I think he really stood out in the jumping department. The only error he made was at the last, where Josh Moore, who was aboard that day, admitted himself that he was probably to blame for that last jump. He was a bit too he basically just was a bit too comfortable in the manner of victory and just let him go. But yeah, he said that he shouldn't have put in a short one there. But yeah, he was a very solid jumper throughout, you know, and I think this horse, we haven't gotten to the bottom of him yet, and he's a really exciting novice hurdler to follow this season. He will have to carry a penalty in the race, but I think he's more than capable of doing that. Dan Skelton's team, oh no, not Dan Skelton, Chris Gordon's team have been in great form of late. They've been having winners left, right and centre. They had a winner at Fakenham today. They had a couple of winners at Plumpton on Monday. We put up a horse of Chris's at Uttoxeter, which won on Saturday and defied a penalty, and I think this lad can defy a penalty. I think he's definitely going to be a horse to keep on side. I'm not sure if he might be graded company, but he certainly could run in some nice handicaps later on down the line. I wonder if maybe the Betfair hurdle later on in the season at Newbury could be right up his street. You know, I think he's a really nice horse. Probably wouldn't want the ground to get too tested, resting, but if it continues to be good soft, that shouldn't be a problem for him. And I just think he can put his good jumping to good use here, and if he can get an easy time up there with the pace early on, I think he should be beating these, and I think he's got a really good chance. Another thing I should say about this horse, if you go back through his bumper form, he's got some smart bumper form, but he always looked like jumping was going to be the game for him. You know, he wasn't just one of these bumper types that can rack up a couple of wins. Jumping was always going to be the name of the game with him. And if you read some of the quotes from Chris's stable tour and the Racing Post, they really do like this horse and they think a lot of him. And I just think 2Minutes Turkish is going to continue his winning ways tomorrow. And for me, at 15-8, I think he's actually a fairly solid price there, and he could arguably be a little bit shorter despite having to give away the penalty. So yeah, really sweet on 2Minutes Turkish tomorrow. One of the most exciting novice hurdlers I've seen so far this season. Yes, I know it's still early days, but I thought he did the job really nicely at Fakenham, and that's why he is going to be my nap of the day. We then go for the evening racing at Kempton. We're going to have to wait for the next best for quite a while until the 8 o'clock, and I'm going to go with Johnny Drama here for Sylvester de Souza and Andrew Bolden in the colours of King Power Racing. Now again, this isn't a very original selection. You can currently back it at 6-4 at the time of recording. Now this horse won for Andrew Bolden last time out at Kempton, running a really good race. It was the first time he'd ever been on the all-weather, but he did the job really well, and he took to the surface like a duck to water. Really, he really did seem to relish it, and it wasn't a bad race he was running in, you know. And to be fair though, the race did set up for him. There was quite a lot of pace up there. I remember we put a horse up that day called Sky Defender. You also as well had a Victory Time. They went quite hard early on, and in the end it just set up for the closers, and the race could develop in a similar way tomorrow. You're going to have Mark Johnson's Tulip Fields in there trying to set the pace. You know, there could be one or two others that like to be handy and set it up for a closer. And I think Johnny Drama, I think he might just get a similar type of race to what he won at Kempton last time. And yes, he was raised £6 by the handicapper for that, but he's always shown that he could be a potentially top-class horse, or at least a top-class handicapper. And like I said, it was his first start on the all-weather last time out. And I don't think this is that much of a stronger race than what he ran in last time. And I just think it could set up really easily for Johnny Drama. And I'm going to be backing him to get another win. So yeah, not an original selection at all, but I just think he's got really solid credentials. And that's why he is going to be my next best for tomorrow. So quickly just recap there then. The nap, we've gone on about it for a while. In the 12.20 at Warwick is 2Minutes Turkish for Chris Gordon, 15-8 win only bet. And the next best is going to run in the 8 o'clock at Kempton, Johnny Drama at 6-4 win only bet. So yeah, they're the two tips for tomorrow's racing. Not very original, like I said, but hopefully we can find a couple of winners there. If you haven't done so already, please remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe here to my YouTube channel at LuckyLoaders15 if you haven't done so already. And also as well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to know a little bit more about myself, my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.